This has been an ACB community call.
This community, Unmuted, was recorded live on the 19th of April.
Good day. It is Michael here with Community Unmuted on April 19th, 2025 is when this episode is live. And I appreciate each and every one of you for joining us. Sheila for managing those hands and making sure that we all stay in line, and Brad for getting us out on ACB Media, and Liz for joining me as a co-host. How are you, Liz?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
I'm doing great. Hey, before the show got started, one of the things that I mentioned is last time I forgot to come up with a question of the day. So as I was frantically trying to remember what is it that I wanted to do for a question of the day, I just decided to pull one out. And that is, what is one tech tip that someone has shared with you that has stuck with you and helped you be more productive with your technology? And for me, I think one of the tech tips that someone had just offhandedly mentioned to me and didn't really think about it at the time, but then when they mentioned it to me, that is a tip that I have used, and that is that the Windows File Explorer has an address bar. And if you hit Ctrl L and you type downloads and you hit enter, you're in your downloads folder. Or you type documents and you hit enter, then you're in your documents folder. But you can also type in a web browser or a website, and that'll open your web browser. So if you type in unmute.show and you hit enter, then guess what? You're on Unmute's website in your default web browser. So that was one tech tip that someone just casually handed to me, and I've been using quite regularly on Windows. How this call works is I will ask Liz for her tech tip if she has one in a moment, but then we will be happy to hear from you. So go ahead and raise your hand. If you have a tech tip, feel free to share it. Otherwise, bring your tech questions. We'll do our best to answer them. And for those who aren't aware, the unmute.show website has archives of all of the previous calls that we have done and so much other content, including our digital bites, our not games to play, but all things Lady A. And we also have Mac chat that Chris and I did this week, and Android call, and digital bites, and a lot of other content. So check out unmute.show if you haven't yet, or search for Unmute Presents in your favorite podcast app. Club Unmute is a way for people to support what we do at unmute.show. And Liz, hand it over to you real quick. What is one tech tip someone has shared with you that has kind of helped you out with a lot?
I don't know that someone has shared this with me necessarily, but the tech tip that I try to remember for myself and share with anyone is restart your device. It fixes a lot of problems. Also, before we go to hands, I want to pass it over to Chris for a tech tip that she might have to share with us. Chris?
And see, these are all surprises to Liz and Chris.
I was trying to think of a tech tip, and golly, there's too many to number and too many over the years, but maybe I'll mention this one. When you're in your web browser, say Chrome on your computer, pressing F6 kind of cycles you between things that are important. Like if it wants to save your password, you can go there and have the website save your password, or you can go to the address bar or back to the web content. So function key 6 is really handy. Thanks.
Thanks for that. And Ctrl F6 will take you past all of that in Windows if you're stuck in your address bar right into the web content. So thanks for that, Chris. Appreciate it.
Awesome.
Sheila, do we have any hands?
You do. Beth.
Good morning, Beth. I believe you are muted still, Beth. And Zoom has been challenging.
Okay, I'm here.
Oh, there you are. Yep.
I would say, my tech tip, way back when you had to save, now if you don't save, it automatically saves. But people tell me, I guess I was writing a document and I didn't save it at the time, and it just kind of I had to do it over, and somebody said you have to save quite often.
Yes. Ctrl S is a savior. No pun intended. Well, thanks, Beth. Did you have a question, or do you just want to share that tech tip
Yes,
with us?
I do. My my voiceover is kind of. It sounds like it's, it sounds like a speaker that's shorting out. So I mean, I get what it says. It just kind of cuts off like the first probably letter of what it's gonna say. Of course, it didn't do that today, but it sounds like a speaker that's kind of shorting out, and I don't know like how to re-download it or anything
So,
like that.
so if Chris or Liz has an idea, feel free to jump in. But my first thought is, have you tried changing the voice to see if that makes a difference in the voiceover experience that you have?
No.
So that's where I would start, especially if other audio plays just fine out of your phone. If other audio kind of sounds like that as well, and really tinny and kind of cuts in and out, then that tells me it's probably a hardware issue, and there wouldn't be much you can do. And I would take it to Apple or your cell phone carrier to have them diagnose the phone. But if other audio plays just fine and your audio kind of sounds a little choppy in the beginning, I would go into your voiceover settings and try changing your voice and see if you encounter that with a different voice.
Okay, like the voice probably I'm using is kind of wearing out or something.
Well, it could be corrupted. There could be a lot of different things that could be going on, but that's the first troubleshooting step I would personally take to see what's causing that issue. Of course, I imagine you've tried restarting your phone, and it still happens after you've restarted your phone.
Yeah, I had to restart it because it would freeze, and yeah.
Yeah. So I would try changing your voice and see if that makes a difference. And thanks for joining us today, Beth.
Yeah, thank you.
All
It's
right.
been a while.
Yeah, it has. Who do we got next there, Sheila?
Little baby one.
Hello. If you could identify yourself, that would be great.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
So it's Jeff. I guess it just gets the name of my iPhone. So sorry about that.
No worries, Jeff.
So Michael, the tech tip, and of course there's no way to check this, but whenever you first asked that question, it immediately went in my mind. And it was one from you, File Explorer, Ctrl L, and it's made a profound impact on how I navigate my PC. Like, yeah, hands down, that's the one that I probably use it, I don't know, tens of times a day, if not way more. So that's hands down the tech tip that's had a huge impact. So Thank you.
Well, thank you, Jeff. Appreciate it.
So on the iPhone in Mail, whenever I have an email opened, and I start swiping, it seems like it wants to, when I say it, the cursor will jump to what I think is the tabs at the bottom where it's like trash, forward, reply. And then so I'll like refocus in the email and use my rotor, to change it to maybe something like actions, but I still can't get, it still seems like the cursor wants to jump down to like, trash, forward, or reply. There's something I have to be doing wrong. And I don't even know if I'm explaining it right.
So, Liz or Chris, if one of you want to jump in, or I have some ideas. Okay.
The one idea that I was going to say is that I know that this is a hit or miss bug, I believe. I have not experienced it, but I know others who have. So it could just be a result of that. You may or you may not be doing anything wrong.
Right.
That is the one thing that came top of mind for me.
The other suggestion that I have for you is, do you know if it's just reading those actions out to you, or is it reading those buttons across the bottom? Because if it's just reading the actions out that might be related to that message, there's a setting in VoiceOver that you can go change. And if you go listen to the previous Community Unmuted, this question did come up, or drop us an email because I don't remember the exact wording unless Liz does. But it allows you to have your VoiceOver rotor remember the last setting that it was on. So if you were on lines or you were on links or you were on headings, when you flick around on a message, it won't automatically switch you to actions, which I wonder if that's possibly what's happening there.
That's what it sounds like. And apologies, Michael, you said that's on the last Community Unmuted podcast? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. I'll go back and listen. Thank you so much.
No worries. Thanks a lot. Who do we got next there, Sheila?
Janet.
Hello.
Hello, Janet.
My Liz stole my thunder because I was going to say the same thing she was going to say, that if you're having problems with your devices, restart them. So there you go. You got two of the same answer. That's all I can come up
Valuable
with.
tip.
Yep.
Well, perfect, Janet. Do you have a question today?
Not at the top of my head, I don't.
Okay. Well, if something comes up, you know where to find us. Thanks a lot.
Bye. Love you.
Have a good one.
Allison.
Good morning, Melissa.
No, Allison.
Oh, Allison. Good morning, Allison.
Good morning, Michael. I do have a tip and a question for you. My tech tip is when you go to Google and it puts you in the search box, this is whether you're using Edge, Chrome, or Firefox. Once you type in whatever you're looking for in the search box and you press enter, it'll say page has so many links or whatever, so many headings, regions, or links. The quickest way that my computer trainer told me to get to your number of search seconds is press Ctrl F and type in the first 3 letters of second and press enter, and you'll be at your search results. I don't know if that's changed in the later versions of Windows or what, but that's how I was taught.
Beautiful.
Yeah, my tech question is, whenever my computer is done doing its Windows updates every other month or so, the second Thursday of every other month, I would get on my computer and type in my password, and it puts me on the welcome screen. I'm using Windows 11 with JAWS. And normally when I press the search box, it says search box edit. It puts me in the edit box and I can type in what I'm looking for. But it says get started, and I'm not sure what it wants me to get started with. And when I tab, it'll say, let's finish setting up your device. And then when I tab a second time, it says remind me later button. I think it's having to do with my Microsoft account. I'm not sure what it's wanting me to get started with.
And I presume
Windows not
that you often choose the remind me later, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so it's doing exactly what you're telling it to do, and that's why you keep getting that pop-up, is it's reminding you later that you need to go through that process. With some recent Windows 11 updates, there are some they're called out-of-box experiences that you should go through in order to make sure that you're up to date. So what I would do is, once that comes back up, simply go through the process. You should find a continue or next button and choose that instead of remind me later. And then I believe if you use your up and down arrow keys after you hit that next button, it should give you more details about what it is that it wants you to do. I think the last time I had to do this, it was just having me verify I think it was my antivirus settings for Windows Defender or something similar to that. But that's the easiest way to get rid of that screen, is to just hit the next button and go through that process there.
Okay, so if it does come up again and say get started, I should just press enter on that and go through the prompts?
Yep.
Because then sometimes it'll say, if I press enter on it, it'll say just a moment, ... and then it doesn't say anything for a while.
That's normal.
Yep, that's perfectly normal. So, and it can depend on your computer speed. And then if you ever want to get more details, are you using JAWS?
Yes.
Okay, so you can always do JAWS key B like Bravo, and that will read that dialogue to you from the top left to the bottom right.
Okay.
All right. Thanks a lot,
Yep.
Allison.
Yep. Thanks a lot. My other question is, where could I go to read some reviews on the Smart Vision 3? Because I'm thinking of switching from the Blind Shell 2 to the Smart Vision 3 phone.
I don't have that answer for you simply because I don't know that there's as wide of publications and community support for the Smart Vision 3 as there is for the Blind Shell Classic 2. So where I would start is by simply doing a quick Google search and saying Smart Vision 3 reviews 2020 or 2020X or something like that. Or just search for Smart Vision 3 reviews and maybe something will pop up there. Okay, Allison?
Okay. Thank you very much.
Of course. Sheila, who do we got next?
Marcy.
Hello.
2 tech tips for you, please. Number
Okay.
1,
Sure.
please recognize the window that is in focus, because sometimes people try typing on the desktop instead of being in a document. So please know which window is in focus. Number 2, the address bar accessed with Alt-B, Ctrl L, F4. If you type the exact name of the website, you can go straight to that website. Or if you type your terms separated by spaces, that's doing a search.
Good tips
Awesome.
there. And now I'm going to ask you a question, Marcy. How
sir.
do you identify what window you are in?
That
But
is exactly what I was going to ask.
Yeah, if you're using JAWS or NVDA, it's JAWS key T or NVDA plus T. Narrator also.
Yep. Awesome. Thanks a lot, Marcy. Did you have a question or did you just
No
want to share a
questions,
tip?
just 2 tips.
You're amazing. Thanks a lot. Sheila, who do we got next?
LaDon,
Hello, LaDon.
you're still muted, sir. You're unmuted now, but we don't hear you.
It may be worth possibly leaving and coming back there, LaDon. We did hear you before the call started.
Try it now.
There you are.
Okay, my microphone had stopped working for a minute. I have 2 questions. One you'll be able to answer quickly, one not so quickly, and maybe Marcy can help handle it for me. And the one that you can answer is the quick tip that you gave. Because I know Control L goes to the address line, and I know, but the other tips that you gave me, I missed them. One was to go to the download folder. I wanted to know what those were.
Yep. So if you're in File Explorer, and this works specifically in Windows 11, I can't guarantee it'll work in older versions of Windows. But if you're in File Explorer and you hit Control L when you're in your list of files, that will put you in the address bar for File Explorer.
Right.
At that
part
point,
I know.
you can type downloads and hit enter, and that'll take you to your downloads.
You type downloads after that? Okay.
Yep.
And what else?
Or Dropbox, for example, and that'll take you to your Dropbox folder or documents.
Okay.
And the last one that I mentioned is, let's say you want to go to google.com. You can type in google.com and that'll open your default web browser and take you right there.
Control L, download. And that okay, that's what I want. The question that Community Valley won't let you answer, and maybe Marcy can answer this for me. I am looking for a good JAWS/AI trainer. I'm willing, to pay the going fee for training. And I want to know if you can put me on one. Marcy was the trainer who trained me 15 years ago when I first lost my sight on that. And if she's still doing training and she's interested, I'd like to hear from her. Or anybody else have ideas of a good JAWS/AI trainer that I can get?
Perfect. If anyone has any ideas, send an email to community@acb.org. Let us know to get your information onto LaDon, and we'll get that over to you, okay?
How will they know does community know who I am?
Yep, because we'll forward, you've emailed us before, so we have your email address. So if someone wants to reach out to you, we'll forward their email out to you, okay?
Yep, thank you.
Thank you. Who do we got next there, Sheila?
Desi.
Hey, Desi.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I just wanted to, and I think it's earlier. Good morning to you, Michael. than it is
8
here.
o'clock hour. Yep.
Yeah. I was going to second or third or fourth the idea about being sure to shut down your computer occasionally and reboot it, because recently I went to go host a community call, and I went to the link in the email just as I would normally do, and it took me to a place, and nobody was in there. So I texted out saying, "Oh, I need somebody to open the room," and came back that the room was already open and people were there, and I'm like, "Well, that's weird." So I went out, came back in, same experience. Went out again, came back in, same experience. I could not figure out what to do. So in the meantime, they got somebody else to host, and I was messing around, and I decided to try a couple of other links in the community email so that I could see, if I got to the places I was supposed to go. And it always took me to that same classroom. And I was so befuddled. I couldn't figure out what in the world. And all of a sudden I thought to myself, it's been a while since you rebooted. I rebooted, went in, everything was perfect.
Yep. Yep.
But that was so weird. Every link went to the same spot.
Well, they just wanted you to be in that room. Unfortunately, there was no one else there.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing I wanted to say before I let somebody else have the floor is I wanted to thank Chris specifically for telling us about the Geek Gab podcast. Say that 4 times fast. I had not known about that, and I subscribed to it, and I absolutely love those guys. So anyway, thanks for that. Yeah,
You're welcome. You're welcome. I love them too. It's very exciting.
They're great. Yeah. All right, everybody, have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
Carla.
Who's next, Sheila?
Hey, Carla.
Hey, how you doing? It's good to be here. I finally got a Saturday I didn't have to work. It's great you're having these weekends. I have a very unusual tech tip and 2 questions. Okay, I'm sure, I'm relatively sure that nobody has had this one before. Okay, if something happens, okay, this is for JAWS users, and let's say something happens at your email or when you have had an update and something really acts wonky, you can't get it to work the same way with the new update. I always keep an older version of JAWS icon on the desktop and go back to that. And like I can only do my email. For some reason, the email doesn't work with the new one because it doesn't support my older version of Office, I guess is what they told me. So what you do is you go to your desktop, and let's say, you want just like JAWS 2024 or 22, you rest your cursor on it, then Alt-Tab to JAWS Professional, and you go Alt-F4, and it says Quit JAWS, and you press Enter. And then if you press Enter again, it'll go back to the desktop and reload the older version of JAWS, and it'll work. So I don't know if that's going to be any good, but it sure saved my skin a lot. And also, it also helps sometimes if it stops, there's things that it'll fix things that you wouldn't believe. So that's my tech tip of the day. I hope it made sense to somebody and is useful to somebody.
Beautiful.
My 2 questions are, first of all, for some reason, something must have happened to my computer, to my Office system, and there is no way to make a new folder anymore in my documents. All the standard commands for making a new folder do not work anymore. And I don't know what's going on there. And I'm still having trouble with not being able, when somebody sends me an email with multiple attachments, and sometimes I can arrow and get all of them, but sometimes it'll show one and then it'll stop. And I've tried maximizing, I've tried everything I've been advised to do, and it doesn't work. So those are my 2 problems / questions. And I want to wish you all a blessed Holy Week and a good day.
Well, thank you, Carla. Appreciate that, both the tech tips and the questions. Specifically, are you not able to create folders in just your documents? Like, can you go into other folders and create folders, or are you can't do it anywhere?
You know what? It seems to be. I've never tried it anywhere else. I don't know where else to try it.
Yeah. Well, I wonder, and you're trying Command or Control Shift N.
And then there's something with, Control Shift N, then the ribbon, the new doesn't even show up on the ribbon anymore.
Interesting.
So it's like really weird. Something must have gone corrupt. And the last time I got things fixed, they really wrecked my computer, but good. And I could not get my email. And that's when I had to go back to that, going to an older JAWS just to get my email. So I'm scared to death to let anybody in the computer, but I might have to.
Yeah.
I'm going to get a new computer because, in the fall, it's not going to support, they're not going to support Windows 10 anymore. So I'll have to get a computer. I'm not happy about it, but I'll have to.
Oh, the Windows 10 to 11 jump seems scarier than what it actually is. Definitely, I think you'll do fine with that, and I think that's going to solve a lot of the problems you're having. The last suggestion that I have, which may or may not be helpful for you, and I suspect you've possibly tried it, is when you have a message open, if you do Alt F and then go down, there should be an option that says Save All Attachments, and then you can press Enter on that and then pick the folder to where you want to save them.
You get to the message.
Yep. Open the message with the attachments.
Okay.
And then do Alt F to go up to the File ribbon menu, and then go down to Save All Attachments.
Okay.
Give that a try and hope that helps you there, Carla.
Okay. Sometimes I just want to view them just to make sure that they got sent an email and things like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally get that.
That's really confusing.
I think you might be encountering an issue of older email clients not being as widely supported, and that's where you're running into some issues. But that would be the solution I would use myself. Chris or Liz, either of you have any other suggestions for Carla?
With the Command Shift N, if that command isn't working, Command Shift N, Control Shift N. If that isn't working, one thought I had is that maybe the ribbon is collapsed, or the ribbon options are collapsed. I don't think that actually calls the ribbon options in the ribbon menu itself, but that is one thought I had. But I would recommend calling, getting in touch with the Microsoft Accessibility Answer Desk. They may be able to help.
And you don't have to let them have remote access to your computer, too. Carla, you have a blind shell. I don't know if you have an iPhone, but you can use the Be My Eyes application on your blind shell. Go down to Service Directory and then go to find Microsoft under the Assistive Technology, I think it is, category.
Okay.
And when you find Microsoft, then there's a Call Microsoft option, and then they can see your computer screen through your camera on the back of your blind shell. So they don't have to have remote access to your computer. Now, realize that you'll have to hold your phone up so they can see the screen. And then when they ask you to press a key, just say, hey, I'm going to set my phone down so I can press those keystrokes, but I'm not comfortable with giving you remote access at this time. It'll make your call a little bit longer, but they'd be happy to help you that way as well.
Okay, well, thank you so much. You guys, you really give useful tips, and I'm really happy when I can hear your program, and I hope you'll repeat the website again at the end and everything. But I was writing things down, and I'm writing all these tips, and I like to listen for these tips.
Unmute.show, is that the website you want?
Yep, unmute.show.
I was going to add something too.
Sure.
If you have a lanyard that you would hold your blind shell in if you're walking around with it, you could always put it in the lanyard around your neck with the camera facing outward. And sometimes that's really helpful for viewing your screen hands-free.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, and then the other thing is when you're in your email, have you tried shift tabbing for a while until you get to the list of attachments, and then you can oftentimes left or right arrow, not down arrow necessarily, but left arrow or right arrow in that list of attachments and see which ones are there.
Oh, shift tab.
Yeah, shift tab. When you have the message open, you should be able to shift tab, and you'll hear things like subject and the sender and the date.
Oh, yeah, that's where I go. And I go to the list of attachments. And sometimes if you arrow, they all display, and sometimes they don't. And sometimes I just want to check that they all got attached because I'm sending them out to students. I don't necessarily want to copy them anywhere,
Right, exactly. Well, try left and right arrowing too.
Maybe if you don't see them there, maybe you think they're attached, but they actually aren't. If it'll say how many attachments are in that message. If it says 1 of 1 and you thought that you would have attached 3 files, then that is your cue that, oh, wait a minute, I only have 1 attached. I have to go back and attach the other 2 that I thought I attached, but obviously did not.
But it'll say 3 of 3 and then, or 1 of 3, but then I can't see the other 2. And sometimes I can't remember what I've attached and I want to double check it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can always delete the attachments and start over.
Yeah, I guess so. Okay.
And
restart the attachment process instead of restarting your device.
I just wanted to mention one more tip about attaching. The easiest way that I love attaching things to an email is to go to File Explorer and copy it to the clipboard with Ctrl C and then paste it with Ctrl V when I'm in the message. And so easy.
Yeah, and one other easy way is like what you can do is you find the file and then paste it into the clipboard, go into inbox, and then do a Control N, and it'll make a new message, and the subject will be that attachment, and it'll be attached. That's neat too.
There you go.
Ooh.
Well, perfect, Carla. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. That's my other tech tip I just came up with.
I see we have a couple more hands. So Sheila, who do we got next?
Anne.
Hey, Anne. Thanks for joining us.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, you can hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
We can hear you.
Okay. On JAWS 11, if I press, you used to be able to press Control Y, and then it would give you several options, and one of them was trash. But when in email, but when I press Control Y now, it doesn't give me the option of trash. How do you get to your trash when you press Control Y?
Does it give you a list when you press Control Y?
Yeah, but trash is not one of them.
Okay. When you down arrow, do you hear your email address? Because I think what could be happening is maybe the email folder is collapsed. So I would try down arrowing, seeing if it says your email address, and if it says collapsed, tap your right arrow, and then you should be able to find trash. Also, I have found, and I don't understand how the email people set things up, but I have found that my trash has been changed to the word archived. So I don't know if you see one that says archived, and if you go in there, if you find your trashed items.
Oh, you mean one of the options in there might be archived?
Yes, ma'am. Yep.
And then you just click
hit enter on that and see if you find what you expect to be in your trash there.
Oh, trash used to be there, and it's not there now. So
So try that. See if you have archived, and if you do, hit enter on that and see if the items are there
and
that you're expecting.
If you don't hear archive, go to the bottom and right arrow.
Go to the bottom, and you should hear your email address, and it'll probably say collapsed. If it does, tap your right arrow key. That'll expand it, and then you can go from there.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. I'll try it.
And then once it's expanded, you press your down arrow, and you can access.
Yeah, once it's expanded, you press down arrow, and you should.
Wait a minute. Once what?
Once.
If you hear collapsed, if you hear your email address and it says followed by collapsed.
Yeah.
You will first press your right arrow. It'll say expanded. And then to get access to any of the folders that are in that level of your email address that you've opened by expanding it, you can press your down arrow repeatedly. And when you hear the folder that you want, you can press enter.
Oh, okay. I'll try
Focus may not automatically go into the list of where the messages are. You may have to move focus, but depending on how your computer decides to cooperate. But that is how that works.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
All right, Bobby.
Hey, Bobby. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Michael and guys. How are you?
Doing great for a Saturday.
Okay. Happy Saturday. Anyway, I am working on getting a new setup. I got a 5-Fine SC, as in Charlie, mixer and a 5-Fine AM8 microphone. Now, this is what I want to do. And instead of using a third-party program, I want to put my voice and computer audio together, so to speak, the screen reader with Audacity. Now that I got the mixer and all this good stuff set up, how could I possibly do it? Because what's going on, I still use it every now and then, OBS Studio. Now, OBS is getting very, very cluttered, and as you're tabbing around trying to find that record button, you hear, turn on the projector, name a scene, do this, do that, a bunch of stuff about scenes and projectors. So what's the best way I could put my audio and computer audio with the microphone together like you do? And if this doesn't work out, what's the best mixer that you use to accomplish this with Audacity?
So, Bobby, if you could email me that name of that mixer, I'll do some research into it, and I'll give you my email in a second. But if you could email me the name of the mixer, I'll look to see if it supports it, because some mixers have a feature called loopback, and loopback allows your screen reader to come back into your recording software. Other mixers do not have loopback, and so you may need to set up a different way of doing it. I'm not as familiar with, I'm not familiar with Audacity at all. I've never used it. I know people that do, but I do know principally that you need to be able to loop your screen reader audio back into the mixer and have it come into Audacity, or Reaper or whatever tool you use. So drop me an email with the name of that mixer and I'll do a little bit of research for you. Okay, Bobby?
Ian, okay, have you ever heard of that brand, Fifine, or is this something new to you?
I have not. That's completely new to me. That's why I don't know if it has the loopback feature or not. So our email, do you have a way to take a note of it real quick?
community@acb.org.
That'll get to me too. Why not? Use that email.
Hey there, it's Chris. I wanted to say I have that little mixer. I haven't used it much, and I don't remember if it has loopback. But Bobby, does it have a number after it? Like it's Fifine SC, and then is it like 15?
Yes, it's the Fifine S as in Sam, C as in Charlie, and a number 3.
Number 3. Okay, because I have a different number, I think. So that's really important to note. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, when you email that to me, make sure to include that number 3 and I'll do some research for you, okay? community@acb.org will work just fine.
Okay.
Thanks, Bobby.
Thank you, Michael.
Pam.
Hey, Pam, how are you? Speaking of great calls, she has one coming on tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern, basic iPhone class. And you'll want to check that out in your community schedule. Pam, are you there?
Finally, my phone is literally going nuts. I won't go into that, but it's an older phone that when 18.4 came out, I encountered so many bugs that don't seem to be affecting newer phones. And I won't go into that because that's not what I raised my hand about.
Okay.
I have a friend who has a blind shell.
Okay.
I do not. She is trying to get her Be My Eyes set up. She goes into the setup, the account, and all that. She puts in her.
Did we lose Pam?
Uh-huh.
I thought it was on my end.
Let's try this again.
There you are. Okay.
My cursor is jumping around and it keeps muting me. Now, like I said, I'm encountering bugs like crazy.
No worries. So your friend put in her email address.
She has a blind shell. Let me try this. Now, can you still hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I just locked my screen so it wouldn't jump around. She is trying to set up her Be My Eyes account. She puts in her username. She puts in her password. She has tried numerous different passwords, and no matter what she uses, when she hits the confirm or the whatever they call it on the blind shell, I think it is confirmed. She gets an error message. It will not let her in. Is there a trick once she puts in the password? Is there another step somewhere that she needs to use to set up her account?
Yep, there's a checkbox under the password field, and if she's not checking that checkbox, it's going to give her an error.
Okay.
So after she enters her password, she'll hit OK to exit. So with the blind shell, when you want to enter text, you have to go into kind of a forms mode. So you press OK to show the keyboard, and then press OK to close the keyboard. And then if you press down once, there's going to be an option that says agree to the terms of service or something. And she'll check that checkbox.
She did that.
And then she goes down, and then she hits the sign up button.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives her an error. What's the error?
I think it's like invalid password.
Okay, that's interesting because Be My Eyes has very you can use pretty much any password with Be My Eyes.
Yeah.
So the other solution, Pam, is if you know your login for your Be My Eyes account, you can log out of your Be My Eyes account and then try logging in with the information that she's trying to use just to make sure that you're able to access that. And if you're not, then just create her a Be My Eyes account from your phone, and then she can use those details to log in from her blind shell.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so.
Perfect. And if you have any problems, you know how to get a hold of us.
Yes, I do. I have done it before.
Thanks a lot, Pam. Sheila, who do we got next?
You don't have any hands.
Oh, that's exciting, I think. I don't know. Might be a little shorter of a call, though, today. So we'll give it a couple of seconds, see if anyone else has any comments or questions that they want to raise. In the meantime, I do want to let people know that there is going to be something exciting for Digital Bytes tomorrow, which really means Michael hasn't even sat down to edit it. I'm not sure what we're putting out. But Digital Bytes, for those who don't know, is a short form content show with 3 tech tips, tricks, or reviews that you can use to be able to get quick information. And if you weren't aware of it, they're not all there. They will be this week because it's one of my focus things that I got to do and get actually completed. But there are,
I'm sorry. I need to apologize first. I didn't raise my hand, but I cannot find. I have an iPhone, and I cannot find the button where you raise your hand.
I believe it's under reactions. What's your name?
Malcolm Cole.
Perfect, Malcolm. Give me about 30 seconds and I'll take your question. So don't worry about raising your hand. For those who don't know, you can search in your favorite podcast app for Digital Bytes directly. Just type in Digital Bytes. You'll find that on its own podcast feed. And I think right now we have 42 of the 60 possibly episodes that are available. So check that out. Malcolm, what is your question?
Wait, I'm sorry. Can I mention Bytes is BYTES?
Yes. Thank you, Chris. BYTES. Digital BYTES. All right, go ahead, Malcolm.
Okay, I have an iPhone and I'm on Zoom, and I don't know. It used to be there was a place right there where you just clicked on to raise your hand. Now I can't find anywhere where I go to raise my hand.
Okay. It is under reactions, and then you can raise your hand. You'll see reactions is the third, 4th tab on the bottom.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
No worries.
Right,
do we have anyone else?
Yes,
Sheila?
you do. Beth?
Hey, Beth.
Nora. We'll go to Nora.
Okay, I'm here.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
Hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, we can, Beth.
Okay, yeah. I got new speakers sometime back, and somebody said, because I'm trying to make them more like bass and stuff. I'm trying to make them more like where because it's like I have to turn them up really loud. They're not bassy, and and somebody said that was in the driver. I could in the disk drive. I don't know really what they mean by that, because the speakers work just fine. It's just
So they're saying it's in the driver in Windows. Are you using Windows?
Yes, Windows 10.
Honestly, I'm not certain. If they're not very bassy, it could just be the speakers themselves.
Oh, maybe they aren't the big ones.
Have you used the speakers with another device, and do they sound differently on that device if you use them with something else than they do on your computer?
I just have like my iPhone. Besides, this is on the computer.
Okay. They may, as Michael said, it may just be that the speakers do not have as much bass as you might like them to have.
Because I asked the person and he said, "Oh, I have them all hooked up. I didn't see anyone that wasn't hooked up because my last speakers they probably were just as big, I think, and they had more."
Yeah.
Do you know what brand of speakers they are?
Huh?
Do you know what brand of speakers they are?
No.
Okay,
I got them at Radio Shack.
Some speakers, the manufacturer might have an app a lot of times now that you can download and make some customization to the sound if it's a speaker or a device like that. But that may not be applicable in your case. I just
and just because they're large doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be bassy.
Oh.
So thank you, Beth. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
No worries. Sheila, who do we got next?
Nora.
Hey, Nora.
Yeah, hello. First of all, I have my new laptop working in the office. I have Windows 10 and I have JAWS and Fusion. And my question is about when I get onto not Microsoft, but I got on like Chrome, I call it Chrome, something like, when I went to check my email, but I'm on what you would call, Gmail, and instead of doing so many tabbing, tap, and how do I get to the top where I want to click on the X to exit from the Gmail or tab without having to use the mouse?
That's an easy one. Chris or Liz, do you want to help her with figuring out how to exit Gmail without having to get to the top?
How to exit any program without having to get anywhere within it from where you are in the program. You can hold down your Alt key, which is the key to the left of your space bar, and tap the F4 key at the same time. And then in releasing both of those keys, that window that you were just in will be closed.
And if you
And
if you have multiple windows open, you can tap Ctrl F4 and that'll just close the current open window.
Oh, okay. And what about if I have multiple windows open and I want to close all of them but one, do I just put Alt F?
No, Control F4.
Control F4. That's for to close all of them but one, right?
That'll close each window independently, and
One
then
at a
you
time.
press Control F4 until you hear the one that you want to keep open, and then you just keep it open.
Okay, great. Thank you.
No worries, Nora. Thanks a lot.
All right, Malcolm.
Hey, Malcolm.
I'm back. I have a Stellar Trek, and I don't know if anybody on here has one or not, but I have had it for about a year or year and a half, I think. And I did the recent update maybe about 3-4 weeks ago. And in the update, it took away the ability to search for landmarks by category. And I wonder if anybody else has a Stellar Trek that did an update and lost that ability also, and if they ever got it back.
Well, I don't use that. Chris or Liz, do either of you use that device?
I do not.
Nope, I don't either.
So if someone does, feel free to raise your hand. I see we have about 10 minutes left, a little bit less than that. If someone else does that can help Malcolm, then feel free to raise your hand. And or Malcolm, I do recommend reaching out to Humanware to see if they have any input on that as well.
I did that and they don't.
Okay. Well, then I appreciate you asking, but I don't think we'll have an answer for you. Thanks a lot.
Had to try.
Yep. Sheila,
threw my
any
line
other
in the
last
water
hands?
and see what I could catch.
There you go.
Thanks.
Any last hands there, Sheila?
No, sir.
Perfect. Well, I'm going to wrap it up for today because I got to run down and do a 8-hour leadership training with ACB of Oregon. So appreciate each of you for joining us. Thanks to Sheila for hosting for us, Brad for getting us connected in all the places, Liz and Chris for joining me, and you for participating. Head on over to unmute.show to get a replay of this and any other past calls. And this call will be published on Tuesday for people to enjoy. And all of you guys have a great rest of your Saturday. And thanks a lot.
And if you would like to email, you may email at feedback@unmute.show.
Perfect, Liz. Thank you. Forgot that
You're
one.
welcome. Yeah.